Set, go.
Alright, this is the actual CS10 controller that you will use to operate the GPS system. It's a very unique, simple tool to use. Right now it's currently powering up. It'll automatically start loading the Leica Viva software like it's doing right now. But first let me tell you a little bit about the controller. It's very simple, easy to use. Pretty much this OK button controls everything in the F1 slot, which will show up here. This will bring you to your home screen. This star right here is all your favorites, power on, off. Then this is your buttons and function keys. A little bit more about it. On the bottom right here is actually where you have a USB port where you can transfer data to the computer. This would be an external power port right here where you plug it into the dock. On the top right here, this is where you'd actually put your pencil, but the end of the pencil actually has a screwdriver on it right here, and you can pop these two screws out. Doesn't take much to do it. You can actually pull this off like so, and here you can insert an SD card, which is the preferred method, because there's also a spot for a compact flash here, but you can screw up the pins on a compact flash, so we're trying to use all SD cards now. This is another method to transfer data and upload more information. I'll put this back on here real quick. Alright, right now it's powered up. And it's asking me right now if I want to check the Bluetooth connection, but since we're in the basement right now, I don't have it actually connected to any of the equipment, so for now we'll just say no. But in the field, if you're getting this message, this is how you actually hook it up to the equipment. Right now, so this is the startup wizard. Since we're just using the GPS, what we'll want to do is select GPS only, select next. This is right here where you'll select what job you want to use. So for our purposes, we'll say we want to use this job right here, which is BCM 212 extra credit job. But let's say we want to select a different job. You can go choose working job or a new job. And there's a number of jobs already in here. For now, we'll say this is the 412 demo. Hit OK to load it. And right now, we're on our main go to work screen. There's a number of different things you can do here. What we'll talk about right now is how to set up as a Basestation. So what we'll do is we'll go to work, go to base menu, and this is where we'll actually begin to set up our base. So it's a very easy process to go through. You go to work. You want to either select if you're working over a known point, so if you want to put it over a control point, over a last setup, which would be the last setup you previously used when you were working, over any point, which could be any point in your job site that you have defined within the job profile. And let's say we want to go over a known point. And right now, since we're unfortunately not connected to the sensor, I can't show you that. So essentially, after you go through that though, you'll go to work and go to the rover menu, because once you get all that set up, it'll bring you back to the rover menu after it connects to that. And once you're connected, you'll see a blue light on the base station light up. That'll show that you are connected to that and it's configuring that. And then once you move back to the rover menu, it should bring that blue light back to your rover, which will show you your controller is connected to the rover. So moving on, there's a number of different functions here. Starting with your job, there's a number of different options here. You can either select to start a new job, view and edit data, which what this will do, this will bring you to all your points right here that you have within the job. You can select the back button to go back a screen. Job properties. This will tell you about all the different properties of the job, who created it, where it's stored. You can also choose a working job, choose a control job to work these jobs off of. That's about all that's stored within there. And now we're going to go to work. So there's a number of different functions here. There's survey, stakeout, but then there's also survey plus and stakeout plus. To start with surveying is how you find points on the job site. So all you do is when you're taking your GPS to a point, what you'll do is you'll hit measure, and then once you're actually connected in the field, you'll see you'll show your 3D quality. Right now it's all currently set to 5 RTK corrections. You can also change the quality control, which I'll show you how to do in just a second. So that's very simple. You can set up a code system. You can also see on the map where your points are going to be in relation to each other. Now, stakeout is how you'd actually go find points on the job site. So what you do is you want to select your control job. So for our control job, we'll select 412 demo again. Even though you're already working in the 412 demo job, you'll still need to select it again because you can also stake points out between different jobs within a job. So if you're working like across 2 jobs together, you can actually find points in one while working in another. So select 412 demo again, select OK. And right here, what this screen brings up is this point ID is the point that you're trying to find. The current height, this will be your antenna height right here. And then when you're actually trying to find a point, what it'll show right here is left and right corrections in relation to north. It'll tell you how many feet and then what your elevation difference is. And then once you actually get closer, it'll actually show a very precise antenna in relation to your point, and you'll be able to find your point easily. Once again, you also have the map ability as well. And then Survey Plus, you have a number of different tools right here. You can measure to a reference line, reference plane, volume calculations, which is very handy. Say you have a hill of spoil that's getting hauled away. You can take a couple points on it, and this will calculate how much volume is actually there. And then your determined coordinate system, this could be a very useful tool because if you're using the base station at Kenoi, it's set to the RTCM reference plane of the local area. But if you want to set it to your own coordinate system, you'd use this to match the control points to it, and that'll allow you to change your coordinate system of the RTCM reference station to your local coordinate system, which in my manual that I wrote for the GPS, it describes how to do that in detail. And so back out of here, you also have Stakeout Plus, which really the biggest feature here is stakeout to a reference line. And then Kogo. This will allow you to gain a lot of information from your job, such as if you need inverse between 2 points. So we'll go point to point. So let's say we're from BCM9 to BCM8. It'll tell you the azimuth between them, the horizontal distance, the change in height, the sloping distance, grade, easting, and northing. So it's a very handy tool. So if you take 2 points in the job, you need to know how far apart they are right away. You use this to find out instantly. You can also traverse, intersection, and do line arc calculations and area division. There's a number of different tools you can do for different applications of the job. You can also select roads and go to your base menu. And that really is about it as far as functionality. We can also cover in the instrument. This is really just administrative functions of the instrument though, which I'll cover in detail in the manual I wrote for this.